I put the Force into the movies in order to try to awaken a certain kind of spirituality.
You cannot escape your destiny.
Do you want to know what it is? You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. What is the Matrix? Control.
One of the things I've learned over this 20 years of research is that there's never one reason for anything. There are multiple reasons. Part of it is destabilizing the human immune system.
To keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
To manipulate the energetic field. Part of it is creating a sub-reality around the planet.
A prison for your mind.
To be is to be perceived.
And so to know thyself is only possible through the eyes of the other.
Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self. Do you believe in fate, Neil?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
Feel the Force around you.
But you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
Feel the Force around you. Here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere.
But there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Our material and seemingly solid surroundings have been shown by science to be made up of particles of energy and empty space, which too is energy or information. Even our bodies are comprised of these particles of energy, yet all appear and feel seemingly solid. Another aspect of the Hermetic principle of mentalism is the extent to which our own perceptions, beliefs, and attitudes color our experience of reality.
What say you?
A luminous being.
Perhaps the solidity and tangibility of reality is merely our interpretation of the information that we receive through our five senses, fooling our consciousness into believing our world is as we perceive it, when really it's our interpretation of the information.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Keep telling yourself what you know. But what do you believe? What do you feel?
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
I want to tell you how the future creates the past, which then creates the future. So what if the past influences the future, and the future influences the past, in an endless feedback loop? Then the question is, which part of the past is influencing which part of the future, and vice versa? And the answer is, all time is affecting all time, all the time.
Hi, I need a drink.
But first, I want to tell you about crystals. The word crystal simply means a pattern that is periodic. Look at this checkerboard pattern. See how it continues to spread out infinitely in each direction? That means it's a periodic pattern. So that's a two-dimensional crystal. This is another two-dimensional crystal. You can also have three-dimensional crystals.
This is the world that you know.
By the way, this 3D glass is called crystal because its atoms are actually arranged in a crystalline pattern.
So we think reality is a mosaic-like code or language at the smallest scale of reality possible, which is called the Planck length. Particle accelerator data tells us that all particles and forces relate to one another according to a higher dimensional crystal called the E8 lattice. But reality appears to be 3D.
To generate that 3D quasicrystal, the substructure at the pixelated fabric of reality, we project this 8D crystal to 4D. And then we convert that to 3D. Now, just like the basic cell shape of the 3D cubic lattice is the cube, the cell shape of the E8 lattice is an 8D shape with 240 vertices. We call it the Gaussian polytope. When the Gaussian polytope is projected to 4D, it becomes two identical shapes of different sizes. The ratio of their sizes is a unique number, 0.618, also known as the golden ratio,
which produces a quasicrystal code or language. Now, this geometric language has rules, but it also has syntactical freedom like any language. And that requires some notion of a chooser to choose the free steps in the language.
John Wheeler, he's the guy who came up with the term black hole, says that reality is made of information, which is created by observation. The observation must be made, he says, by something conscious.
A universal collective consciousness is one answer, but that sounds new age.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
Nowadays, a good number of physicists discuss the idea that our whole universe is actually a code-based simulation in some fantastically powerful quantum computer in another universe.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment, weapons, training simulations, anything we need.
So you know how your TV screen is broken down into building blocks called pixels? A pixel is the smallest possible indivisible unit of the 2D screen. So think of reality as your TV screen, but in 3D. And think of the tetrahedron as a 3D pixel, the smallest possible indivisible unit of reality. German physicist Werner Heisenberg developed the first equations of quantum mechanics using a type of math called matrix theory. He deduced that space and time were pixelated into indivisible three-dimensional Planck-length units, just like the two-dimensional pixels on your computer screen.
It's good to pixelate the pizza.
And interestingly, there was no solid experimental evidence for smooth, in other words, not pixelated, space-time.
Perhaps we are each mind consciousness within a sea of energy and information, living in a sort of manifested dream.
If this is my dream, why can't I control this?
Because you don't know you're dreaming!
Sophisticated forms of awareness and consciousness now float on an ocean of 37 trillion living cells, self-organized as a human being. It is specifically the laws of physics that caused electrons and quarks to self-organize into 81 stable atoms, and from there, into human consciousness.
Your experience of your life is still valid and meaningful, of course. Potentially with this knowledge, we can realize the extent to which our mental processes create our experiences, empowering us to create the life we desire.
And physics places no upper limit on the amount of energy and matter that can self-organize into conscious systems.
Physics allows the possibility of all the energy in the universe to eventually convert into a single conscious system that is itself a network of other conscious systems, a massive, technologically based collective consciousness. Given enough time, anything that can happen will eventually happen. By this axiom, this system of universal consciousness has already emerged somewhere in the frames of space-time ahead of us. Because it is possible, it is inevitable. In fact, according to the evidence of retrocausality time loops, that inevitable future is co-creating us right now. just as we are co-creating it.
The nature of our immortal lives is in the consequences of our words and deeds that go on apportioning themselves throughout all time.
We must be cautious. This is a dangerous time when you will be tempted by the dark side of the Force.
It's not possible. I didn't say it would be easy, Neo.
You have to see it for yourself.
Our lives are not our own. From womb to tomb, we are bound to others, past and present. And by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future.
Thank you for watching, and much love to you all.
Once you have control over the elements in the system, you can also influence the elements around you. Essentially, your whole work with life is just with the elements always, in a very basic form.
Between the lines is the only place you'll find what you're missing, but you didn't know was there.
You keep telling yourself what you know. But what do you believe? What do you feel?